Hello, this is George Hutton, and you are listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. Today we continue our study of Weaponized Hypnosis. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/weaponized-hypnosis. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about two very important ideas, trade versus might makes right. It's common to think of humans as static, that our life today is just the way humans are and have been and always will be. However, humans are still evolving. All creatures are still evolving. The reason us humans are a special case is that our environment is other humans. Wolves live in a certain environment and will evolve to match their environment. Because the environment in which wolves lives in is very stable, the changes that happen within the wolves will be very slow and gradual. Humans were the same until very recently. In the long stretch between when we split from chimps 6 million years ago to the agricultural revolution only a few thousand years ago, we were like most animals. We were very few, so the main forces on our evolution were the natural environment. But that slowly started to change once a certain number of humans started to exist. A shift happened when other humans became the primary driving contributor to our evolutionary pressure. This created a kind of feedback loop which accelerated some of the changes. However, at our core, we still have the ancient instincts from our hunter-gatherer days. At the same time, a new paradigm came into being. These two paradigms continue to exist today, and we might even consider these two paradigms of how to govern human society to be the primary forces of all intersocietal struggles. Understanding each of these mindsets and how they are both present in our day-to-day lives is essential to being able to verbally defend yourself in any potential confrontation. Might makes right. This is the old way of thinking. This is the power structure of hierarchies. Whoever is in charge makes the rules, and that's that. Whoever can exert the most influence is the one who calls the shots. When two people have a discussion, it's often not who is the most logical or who is the more correct that wins or decides the outcome. It is whoever can exert their argument the strongest. Here, strongest doesn't mean force or even an obvious imposition. Who can present their argument with the most compelling emotions? For example, say three people are having a discussion on where to eat dinner. One person strongly favors Chinese food, the other person strongly favors Mexican food, and the third person doesn't really have an opinion. The battle, then, is to see who can best persuade this third party to their preferred choice. Logic won't usually be used in this kind of argument. Whoever presents their case the most compellingly will win. While this is a friendly conversation and they will all likely enjoy their meal wherever they decide to eat, the process of choosing is very much a might makes right strategy. If the person arguing for Mexican food doesn't describe it with very much enthusiasm, while the Chinese food advocate uses strong emotions, compelling gestures, and mouth-watering descriptions of the food itself, their argument is stronger than the competitor. Even when babies wake up in the middle of the night and start crying, a might makes right battle is kicked off. The mother tries to ignore the baby while the baby continues to cry. Whoever can exert the most influence on the situation will get their way. Unless there is a very clear stated outcome, and all parties agree on the outcome and use pure logic to determine the best method of attaining that outcome, you can be sure that there is a might makes right struggle going on. Even within your own mind, when standing in the frozen food section of the grocery store, deciding between a frozen pizza and a frozen burrito, there is a might makes right struggle happening in your brain. In a very literal sense, you are standing there and letting your desire for pizza and your desire for burritos battle it out. You will choose the winner of this might makes right contest. Trade. The second and very recent idea is that of trade. Trade has always existed and even exists in lower animals. Many animals keep score when they do favors for one another. Many believe that when chimps and other primates sit down to pick the bugs out of each other's hair, they are practicing a very deep tit-for-tat exchange. Some even believe that our propensity to gossip follows this same structure. I tell you something juicy today, and you've got to reciprocate later. When various hunter-gatherer tribes started to encounter one another, they either traded with one another or they fought with one another. We can think of these as the two basic ways of interacting with others to get our needs met. We can trade, give them something of ours in exchange for something of theirs, or we can fight, might makes right, and the winner gets to take whatever they want. Just understanding both mindsets will give you a huge advantage. For example, most people try and use the might makes right strategy as their go-to strategy. They aren't going to use force or violence, but they'll attempt to use a compelling argument to get us to go along with them. Understanding that they are using the might makes right strategy is the first step. Just knowing this gives us an advantage. A very easy antidote to any might makes right attempt is to casually move them from the might makes right strategy to the trade strategy. This sounds very simple and basic, but it subtly gives them a very powerful message. The message is, you won't get me to do anything for free. Everything you get from me is going to cost you something. How do you deliver this? Let's consider the Mexican food versus Chinese food argument. You say you'd prefer Mexican food. Your friend goes on and on about how awesome the Chinese restaurant is. Before the disinterested third party can respond, you say something like this. Tell you what, you can choose this time and I'll choose next time. Deal? This changes everything completely. When anybody uses the might makes right strategy effectively, they believe, usually subconsciously, that they're establishing their dominance. And one of the primary reasons for having social hierarchy dominance over others is you get to choose what to do and they will simply go along with you. Also remember that most people use the might makes right strategy without really thinking. The desire to exert social dominance is very instinctive. So by slowly pushing them from might makes right into the trade agreement, this sounds fair, but at the same time it feels less powerful to them. Despite how much everybody claims they love the idea of fairness, everybody would secretly like to be in charge so they can get their way. The whole reason to exert a might makes right strategy is to get more out of the system than you put in. When you covertly push them toward a trade scenario, the message is that nobody gets more out than what they put in. Ideal situations. Ideally, we get together with people who always operate on a trade relationship. The best business partnerships are made after negotiating all the terms. The best purchases come after looking at all the costs and benefits and making a rational decision. The best romantic and family relationships are where nobody assumes anything, rather everybody has a rational discussion about their roles and expectations. These relationships all have zero coercion and agreement in all areas. Everybody knows what's expected of them, everybody knows what they are getting, and everybody is okay with that arrangement. Core skills of weaponized language. There will be two areas we will be exploring in detail. Whenever somebody comes to you with a pure trade mindset and opportunity, there is no need for defensive language. There is only a deal or no deal. When they do come with a might makes right strategy that is unacceptable, we have three options. Shift to trade. This is when we use language that implies any kind of tit for tat. If I do this, what do I get? We force them to explain what we are getting for going along with what they want. Question their authority. When people come at us with a might makes right strategy, it is not something they have put a lot of thought into. We've talked about how our beliefs are made up of experiences that are incomplete maps of reality. Most of the time, simple questions that ask why they believe they are in a position of authority will make any believed authority evaporate. Option 3. Destroy them. This is only to be used in emergencies. This is the equivalent martial arts deadly punch that you only use when your back is to the wall. This is the kind of skill where just knowing it will be enough to virtually guarantee you never need to use it. From a communication standpoint, knowing these linguistic techniques and having practiced them to a confident degree of efficiency will give you such powerful eye contact that they will think twice before purposely causing you any anxiety. I'm George Hutton. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/weaponized-hypnosis. I look forward to speaking with you again soon.